Hello everyone. It is one of my favorite times of the month. It is time for Deck of Panning. I'm so excited. This is a project created by Emily from Emily and Mac. She was inspired by a booktuber named Books with Maddi, who used a deck of cards to gamify her to be red pile, and we're just doing the same thing with our makeup. So each card in the deck corresponds to a prompt on a game board that Emily shuffles every month. It is less complicated than it sounds, and it is really, really fun. I will link to Emily, Maddi, and the game board in the description box below. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm trying something a little bit different today. I have flipped my iPhone around and I'm using the back camera. It's absolutely a better camera, but the drawback is I have no viewfinder here. So if I'm having trouble looking you in the eye today, that is why. It's just going to take me a little while to get accustomed to this. So let's take a look at the things that I pulled last time. And then my favorite part, we get to pull some new cards. So last month I pulled the 5 of diamonds, which corresponded to the prompt Fantasy Self. So I was supposed to pull something from my collection that I really bought for my fantasy self and maybe is a little bit outside my comfort zone or isn't something that I dip into very often. For that, I pulled my Hella palette from Odin's Eye. This is their collab with Angelica Nyqvist, who famously uses a lot of color and she really enjoys warm tones. You may know, if you've been here for any length of time, I'm a cool olive. Warm tones, not my favorite. So this is the palette here. It is a beautiful palette, but there is a lot of it that I really don't go into very often just because I don't feel these are colors that suit me and they're not really ones that I'm drawn to. So I decided to do this no pan left behind style and I divided this palette up into quads and I made a look from each quad. I ended up making 2 looks that I really liked, one that I didn't like at all and one that I thought I wouldn't like but that I ended up really enjoying. I feel like I got a better grasp of this palette over the last month doing the No Pan Left Behind than I have since I purchased this palette. And I actually was surprised by some of the looks that came out of this. There were a couple I knew I wasn't gonna like because it incorporated those really warm, slightly grungy colors. I do like a grungy color, but when they're this warm, it's just hard for me to make a look with them that I really enjoy. In the end, this was kind of a purchase for my fantasy self, but I ended up enjoying more of it than I thought that I would. So I'm glad I pulled it into this project and I got to know it a little bit better. My next card was the King of Spades, and that corresponded to the prompt In It for the Long Haul, which is probably one of my least favorite prompts because I really like shopping my stash every month in this project. And In It for the Long Haul means I need to stick with something for probably multiple months. What I chose to roll in for that was this NARS Narcissist palette. This is just such a great little palette. It's got just about everything in here. And unlike most of my other palettes, with a couple of exceptions, everything in here works for me. There's nothing that I can't go into or don't want to go into because it just doesn't suit me. This is the Laguna bronzer here. And this is what they call, I think, their contour or sculpting shade, but because Laguna is a little bit on the golden side, I like to mix this sculpting shade in with the bronzer when I am wearing it, and I feel like that just kind of cools it down just a little bit. This is a matte highlight. I just really love a good matte highlight. I am sad that they're no longer in vogue the way they were back in the days of like the KVD Shade and Light palette. Light and Shade palette? I don't remember. I didn't own it, but there were a lot of similar products that had matte highlights like that. And then the top 4 are blushes. I like them all, even this one. This one doesn't look like it's gonna work on me. It looks like the white base is just gonna pop there, but there's a lot of transparency in this blush and it is actually really pretty. So I used this palette in total 19 times. I used the bronzer 18 times, and then I used the sculpting shade 17 times. I used the matte highlight 5 times. This was probably my favorite blush of the month. I used this 12 times. I used each of these 2 blushes only once, simply because I was going for more cool looks this month. And then I used this last one here 9 times. So I got some good use out of this palette. I'm 20 uses into my 50 use goal. So obviously this is going to be rolling through to the next month and probably into April as well. Next, I pulled the 6 of diamonds, which corresponded with the prompt warm toned. And for that, I pulled my Nabla highlighter. Despite my preference for cool colors in most areas, I actually really enjoy a nice warm color on the cheeks, and I actually prefer a warm highlight over an icy one. Listen, I don't know why that is. I can't explain myself. I'm a complicated woman. It is just so smooth and delicious. I actually feel like using this product in this project over the last month has kind of kicked off a little bit of a renaissance as far as highlighters go in my collection, and I have been actually reaching for highlights, this one and a few others, more than I really ever have in the past. So this was rolled in for 6 uses and I used it 10 times. A little extra credit there. The next card that I pulled was the Jack of Clubs, and that was for the prompt, represent another project, and I chose lip service. And I rolled in this little lipstick that I purchased toward the end of last year. It's Thanks It's MAC, obviously from MAC. It's their luster glass formula, and so it's really comfortable. It's just this lighter, slightly cool pink. Why not? Really, really pretty lipstick. I very much enjoyed this. This came in for 11 uses and I used it 11 times. I would have continued to use it, but I have a bunch of lipsticks in other projects that I really needed to focus on once I met my goal on this one, and I did. Last, I drew the Ace of Clubs, and that was for the prompt Plan to Pan. Now, this was before I actually filmed my 26 and 26 Plan to Pan. So I didn't pull a product directly from there. But the prompt does say that you can reflect back on the goals that you had at the beginning of the year. And something that I spoke about in my 2026 beauty goals was my decision to not do a Pan That palette, because I want to spend more time this year using as many eyeshadow palettes as I can in my collection, because I have quite a few. And I feel like when I'm focusing so singularly on a single palette in an attempt to pan it, I get to the end of the year and I have a lot of palettes I haven't touched. And one of the palettes that I feel like I've been neglecting is this one. This is Belle of the Ball from Pat McGrath. It's one of the Bridgerton collab palettes. I actually think this was my first experience with Pat McGrath eyeshadows. It's part of why I fell in love with the brand. I'm so sad and kind of nervous about what's happening to them right now. I just really, really enjoy the brand. I can admit that they've made some really odd choices over the last few years, and so this isn't completely unforeseen, but I love so many Pat McGrath products that I will be devastated to see them go if that's what ends up happening with this company. As far as this palette goes, I really love this color story. I feel like it's unexpected in a really delightful way, and I have made some looks out of this palette that I didn't think would go together, but they work just beautifully. So I rolled this in No Pan Left Behind style as well. As I said in my 2026 goals video, I'm going to be trying to do that more so that I can get more use out of more of my eyeshadow collection. In those 5 uses, let's see if I can do this without blinding you. I have it marked on the back, but this one here, I think is that right? Yes. This one here I used twice. I used this 3 times, and I used this 3 times. I used this once, this twice, and this twice as well. I feel like I got a lot of good use out of this palette, and it has been a while, so I feel like I really honored the spirit of that decision that I made at the beginning of the year to play with more of my collection, and especially those palettes that just haven't gotten a whole lot of love in a while. And that is it. Those are all the products that I pulled last month. The NARS is going to be staying in, and so we only have 4 cards to pull today. But I am excited. I have my trusty deck of Mandalorian face cards here. These are so cute. I just need to pull both of the jokers out. I don't want to double my chance of running into a joker. Here, I think we used the Jawa last time, so we're going to use the Tusken Raider this time. And we're just going to stick it back into the deck, and we're going to shuffle. Okay, that should be good. First card, 2 of Hearts. Second card, Ace of Hearts. Third, 9 of Clubs. Fourth, the King of Hearts. A lot of hearts. You heard me shuffle, okay? I don't know what to tell you. All right, let's pull up the game board. Okay, this is the 2026 game board. The first card that I pulled there was the 2 of Hearts, and that is SPF. Something with SPF in it. Okay. I don't have a ton of options for that, so I think I know which one it's going to be. Then I have the Ace of Hearts, which means, it means pick up 2. Okay, so that means I just need to draw another card. You guys. All right, the 9 of Hearts. Whew. Avoided the joker this time. So this extra one that I just drew, the 9 of Hearts, again, so many hearts. Mini or sample, got plenty of those. And then the 9 of Clubs, matches nails. Okay, well, these are my nails today. They are my Valentine's nails. They are white and pink and sparkly. So I'm sure I can do something with that. Last, I drew the King of Hearts, and that is a baby goal. Sweet. Okay, those are all of my prompts. I'm gonna go pick my products. Okay guys, I'm a little bit of a dork. I only picked one extra card, which just replaced the ace. So I didn't end up with more products than I normally would. The whole point is to increase the number of products I'm working with. So I need to draw another card. Here we go. 4 of spades. Okay, back to the game board. Okay, 4 of spades. Oh, the shame. This is for, I'm pretty sure this is for something that I have not yet used. So let me just check. Oh, the shame. Yes, a product you somehow haven't used yet. Okay, well, I do have a few products that I haven't used because they just arrived due to some online shopping that I have done this month. And so I have several contenders for this particular prompt. Now I'm going to go pick my products for reals this time. Okay, I'm back and I've chosen my products. The first card that I drew was the 2 of Hearts, which was something with SPF in it. Now I could have pulled like a base product that had SPF in it because I know I have a few of those, but I just decided to go with an SPF because I'm about to finish up the SPF I have been using. So I'm gonna roll in this. This is the Biore UV Aqua Rich Watery Essence. This is a Japanese product. They made one for the US market. I don't know if it's the same. I have not tried it. Honestly, I'm not interested in trying it. Why fix something that's not broken? I really, really, really love this SPF. So usually I like to go by the number on the card, but it's a 2, and the lowest number of uses I like to go for is 5. Otherwise, I kind of feel like, what's the point? So I'm going to go ahead and roll this in for 5 uses. Then the 9 of Hearts was a mini or a sample. So for that, I pulled my Dior Backstage sample here. There is both the foundation, which I have used. I've gone through an entire bottle of the Dior Backstage foundation. Love it. But today I'm going to be rolling in the concealer. I don't currently have a concealer in any other projects, so this is perfect. I'm going to go ahead and use up this little concealer sample in 2N Neutral. And of course, since it's just a sample, instead of going for a usage goal, I'm going to roll it in to finish. All right, then I drew the 9 of Clubs, and that was something that matches my nails. My nails are pink and white right now, so I decided to roll in this monster of a palette. This is my Physicians Formula Ultimate Muru Muru Butter Collection. This is all of their butter products that I think they have ever made. And I mean, this thing is enormous. I should, at some point, no pan left behind this palette. It will freaking take me forever though, because look at this. It's enormous. I'm going to roll this in for 9 uses, which is the number on the card that I drew. I am actually eyeing the bronzers, but I'm going to go ahead and give myself permission to use any of the products in this palette that I feel like using. So 9 uses from this palette. Then the King of Hearts was for a baby goal. And to be honest, with the way I tend to favor usage goals, I feel like most of my goals would be considered baby goals to a lot of panners. So I'm going to interpret that, I guess, kind of loosely. And I am going to roll in all of my MAC lipsticks. I have, oops, one more. I have 7 MAC lipsticks here, including this cute little mini one. And I'm going to use each of them once over the next month. I think that'll be really fun, and I don't think it will be too much to get through. I am feeling the crunch a little bit of my 50 Shades of Black project pan, which is going to be wrapping up in a couple months here, and I am so behind, you guys. So behind. If you haven't seen my recent update for that, I will link it up here and you can watch it. Watch me panic, basically, because I don't know if I'm going to make it. So I'm going to go ahead and roll all of these in for 1 use apiece. Then for Oh the Shame, I have an embarrassing number of products to choose from for this particular prompt. However, the one that I decided to pull for this project is this one. This is my Eliza Vecca Milky Piggy Carbonated Bubble Clay Mask. And this is a mask that I have used before. I completely finished one of these. I don't think it was last year. I think it was the year before. And it is my favorite clay mask ever. It is really interesting because you put it on and it just foams up. I'll put a picture of me wearing it. I had this in my 50 Shades of Brown project pan back in 2024 and I finished it that year. Favorite clay mask ever because I feel like it does a really good job. I feel like it has all of the benefits a good clay mask has, but it does it without drying down and hardening on your skin, which I feel is the thing that makes a clay mask really uncomfortable and difficult to remove. This one is very comfortable and it washes off really easily. So this is a brand new one. It still has the plastic on it. I have not cracked it open, and I am going to bring it in for, was the 4 of spades. So 5 is my minimum. So I'm going to roll it in for 5, which honestly is kind of a lot for a mask. I don't mask every week. At best, I mask probably once or twice a month. So this is going to be a little bit of a stretch for me, but I think I can make it happen. And that is it. Those are all the products that I will be working on over the next month. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.